Hello. Welcome to the Teachers Lounge. This is our 53rd,
53rd. Or it might be 54th, but I think it's 53rd.
53rd episode. I'm very happy. Make sure y'all like and follow all our social media pages, Teachers Lounge Live. And I am Zoe Johnson, and I do after school programs and also do SEL programs to help build kids' confidence. And I'm also a stand-up comedian. And we go move it along right here.
My name is Chris Dunham. I'm a 7th grade math teacher, primarily 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I also do stand-up about 4 to 5 nights a week.
Yes.
And I am Matt Jones. I am a drama teacher.
Uh-huh.
I almost said the location. And then I was like, no, because we get sometimes angry fans on here. I was like, I don't want anybody to call my school and be like, did you hear what he said on his podcast?
Exactly.
And I am a stand-up comedian as well, drama teacher. But today, guys, we actually have one of my favorite people on the planet.
Yeah.
This is somebody who I've learned a lot from. I think in my life, he's been like an amazing teacher. And I know he's probably like, oh, dude, shut up. But he is awesome. The one, the only, a man who needs no introduction. Dr. O, I will let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Dr. O is in the building.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Zoe, right?
Zoe, yes.
Chris, and of course,
Little Matt.
Little Matt. Yeah. That's my hip hop name.
Make him feel good.
So I'm invited, and I love this. I've watched your show a little bit on the run as I travel.
Totally. Well, we want to kind of like get like right into it. I mean, you have taught a lot over the course of your life. For those of you guys who don't know, Dr. O's in ministry. Your church is in Venice.
That's not my church. That's my wife's church.
Yes.
Excuse
Pastor Benedict.
You better correct that. You better correct that real
before
fast.
you get in trouble.
Real fast.
I'm gonna get you.
It was a typo.
Yeah, you're right.
It was a
Correct
typo.
it.
Let me put an asterisk by that.
Yes,
Pastor Benedicta, who is an amazing pastor. And, you know, she teaches every single Sunday. It's in Venice. And then he is also my teacher of spiritual things because, you know, I have been looking a lot of times in Los Angeles, and a lot of times there's a lot of, we're always kind of looking for the cutting edge in our life to how we can be better.
Yeah.
And the stuff that you've taught me has just been bar none. So it's been very, very awesome. So
thank you so much for that. Yes.
You started out where? When did you start teaching?
When I wasn't supposed to. I was a kid. I started preaching when I was 8 years old.
Really?
8 years old?
Yes. My first sermon was in 1968.
Was all your congregation other 8-year-olds, or was there
No, they had me in front of a church because I was a Jewish kid. I knew the Bible. I had just entered this church. Entered this church, and the old man oh, you know the Bible. You're Jewish, so you can just talk to these people.
That's awesome. Were your parents, did they support it? Were they like, this is awesome?
My father didn't know I was going to a Christian church.
Oh, wow. Really?
Because your family's Jewish.
Yeah. They're like, what are you doing? Yeah.
That's a weird way to get spanked, though. You know what I mean? You're putting out like drinking and like huffing drugs.
I was just with my friends. I was a kid. So, but and several years later, my uncle converted to Christianity.
Okay.
So the rest is history.
Okay. And when did you move to the States?
1985.
85.
Came to the States. He came to Portland, Oregon.
Okay, Portland.
And from Portland, Oregon to Claremont.
Was Portland, Oregon culture shock? Because I imagine it's a lot of like white ladies pushing their dog in a stroller.
My stepmom, my adopted mom, is white.
Okay.
So she's an old German lady.
Sure.
Nice.
She's still in Vancouver.
Okay.
They all raised me up in northern Nigeria when I first went into ministry. So, and Portland was like coming from Abbotsford to Portland wasn't that
okay
big shock. Yeah.
Now, and let me ask you. So I remember even when we were just chatting a little bit before this, that you were also a professor, as well. And I think that even adds to everything that you're already doing. Or you already currently do. So when did you actually start when did you start teaching at like a college or university?
I graduated from, actually while I was at Claremont, I did my PhD my second master's and PhD at Claremont, right down the road from
Oh, nice.
I went to Claremont Graduate School and Claremont School of Theology. So I came into Claremont in 1987. So by 1990, I was teaching at the Center for Black Church Studies.
Nice.
At Laverne University. I was doing that as an adjunct while I was getting ready to graduate. So when I graduated, there was a big church out on Adams Boulevard with bells on it. It was where I was a pastor. And then from there, went to teach at a graduate school in Ohio.
Across the country,
Dayton, Ohio, and Antioch University.
Wow.
Nice.
So when you were teaching as a professor, did you think that at that time that that was going to be your final spot becoming a professor, or did you have bigger dreams of where you wanted to take everything?
I loved teaching at the university, but I was completely bored out of my mind.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Because,
what was so boring about it?
Because a lot of the students were too entitled, and they knew absolutely nothing, but they think they knew everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, dude, public school is the same way.
Yeah.
So you were a middle school teacher in Los Angeles back then.
Yeah.
But seriously, it was better when I was teaching at Laverne because these were adult professionals trying to learn a new career. At the seminary, there were people who just got their bachelor who had never been in the world. I mean, I can tell you, sorry to bring it this way, but there was a young white lady that came to my class, had been teaching for a while, and didn't know anything about theology or philosophy and she was like, she came into my class and says, "You don't know what you're talking about." I looked at her. I'm a preacher, but I had a few choice words for her.
Yeah.
For sure.
In your mind. In your mind, yeah.
Backslid for 5
seconds.
But
you got people like that who just, and because at that time, I looked young because I didn't, I was I just 30 something, just graduated with my PhD. I was like, so.
Yeah.
And they thought, oh, what does this little black boy know?
The way he coming from. Yeah, where he come from. Yeah.
And it wasn't, so you had people like that. It happened when I was a pastor too.
Let me ask you this too, not to skip all over the place, but our audience, I was telling you, is like primarily burned out teachers.
Okay.
So a lot of times when we talk about how tough teaching is and everything, it's teachers with their hair sticking up in the comments being like, I know. Do you find that doing ministry, the burnout rate is really high?
Well, one of the worst places for burnout is people who are in ministry. People don't know that because preachers pretend a lot.
Yeah,
like they got money like that. Yeah,
and I imagine you deal with so much stuff because it's like you're helping lead people to God, but then at the same time, there's probably needy people who just didn't pay their car payment because they wanted to go gambling in Vegas, and they just want you to pray for them.
Let's try to say, no, you're trying to lead people back to themselves.
Absolutely,
because God cannot be found. So all this talk about leading people to God, you're trying to lead people back to themselves because the estrangement from God is not about estrangement from God; it's about estrangement from the self. So we do that, but when you do that, you have to deal with ego, trauma, and all the things that happen to people.
So that's what I was thinking. Is like we always talk about how being the teacher, a math teacher, being a drama teacher, or someone that's a director, that's almost like fourth or fifth on the list. Before that, you were counselors, security guards.
Security guards.
Were oh my gosh, what are some of the other things?
Therapists.
Therapists.
Even though I'm not qualified to be one.
So do you think that also even for ministers, because it's almost like the last thing is actually preaching, the word of God, that it's all the other things that actually contribute to the burnout.
So that's what everybody says you do.
Really?
But I remember once in Venice having this guy walking. He was hungry, but he was absolutely stoned. I don't know, at that time it wasn't California vegetable, it was something else. So I bought food for him to eat, did everything. He finished eating the food, did everything, and cussed me out.
Wow.
And walked around he cursed me. I just stood there and smiled. The things. And
Are you sure you weren't a middle school teacher?
But I am.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
You meet church people outside of the service who are quarreling with one another.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what you gonna do? You go from being Reverend Doctor to being middle school teacher.
Yeah.
Hey, kids.
Yeah. And I imagine people in the ministry tattle on each other, just like they do. Be like, he's cheating on me. They're a little bit more adult problems, but it's probably the same thing.
It's adults are just a larger version of children.
Right.
Yeah. So excuse me 1 second. So you've been in ministry. It's a calling, first of all. Did you know you were born with it? Because this is a question I always wanted to ask ministry. Is this that you're born with, or you can learn to do it?
Well, you can learn to do it, but if you're not called to do it,
absolutely,
you will die. You will burn out.
Absolutely.
Or you will just use people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, it depends. Yeah. So I make this joke. Sorry, guys, since you asked the question, I make this joke that there are, I think, maybe 4 types of people that are called.
Okay.
One person, God called somebody else and they answered.
Okay. Yeah.
The other one called himself and answered. The third one, their husband or their friends told them, you're going to make a good minister, so they answered. And very few of us, 1 out of 4 of us, are actually called, heard something, and have something bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know, so I've been doing this. Now you get to the point where you want to give up in ministry.
Yeah.
But same thing in college. When I was teaching at the college.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just decided one day as a professor, I think there's more to this.
Yeah.
Because all this stuff of being stuck in a classroom and the politics that teachers go through.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You guys go through that?
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, for us, I think the big thing is they make these acronyms and they make up all this jargon. Like you could literally, we've talked about this before, like the jargon that they teach in education.
Yeah.
But they think that creating a word in education is going to fix the problem. So you could be like, hey, there's a kid swinging a chainsaw in my classroom. But people be like, did you build a relationship with them?
He's expressing his kinetic learning ability.
Yeah, he's a kinesthetic learner.
Yeah, he's a kinesthetic learner.
Instead of removing him from the classroom. So there's a lot of gaslighting in education that it always falls on the teacher.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Rather than there being, some kind of thing. And so I think that's a connection too, a lot of times in ministry, is it always falls on the minister. Everything. In an unfair way.
And you're always watched all the time. Even when you don't think you're watched.
Yeah,
you're watched
held
everywhere.
If you're in any kind of position, and especially when it comes to a religious position, you're under a microscope. Did you ever feel that?
It is there, but you just have to get to the point where you don't care.
Absolutely.
Where you know what you're called to do, and you really don't care.
Yeah.
You see, I don't know. I've gotten to the point where a lot of the religious nonsense doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't even address. He knows. Okay. That young man is having sex with a girl. I'm like, oh, that's good. And they go, but you're not a real minister. You should. The lady said to me, you should be telling them what their sins are. My stuff is, hey, really? I meet a guy driving a Mercedes-Benz, the new one, the one that cost $300,000, or Porsche, or something else. And the car's broken on the road. And I go, your car's broken down.
Yeah.
That's what we do in religion. We keep telling the person what they're doing that's wrong. The person doesn't want to hear you tell them what they're doing that's wrong. What they want to tell you is, there's a mechanic down the road. There's a guy who can really fix Porsche down the road. But most religious people, most of us are constantly telling people what they should not do. And what you should not do is not an empowerment. And preachers, that's why preachers get burned out, because they want to solve everybody's problem and talk about their need as if talking about it is a solution. It's not.
It almost sounds like having a list of don'ts versus a list of do's.
That's what it is. Like, don't do drugs. I've never stopped anybody from doing drugs.
Yeah. Dare didn't work.
Didn't work.
Didn't work.
So anyway, but you're right. when you're talking about this stuff that I do as a minister,
yeah,
guys, it's the same thing. When you are in a public position, you have to grow a thick skin and know exactly why you got into it, who you got into it for. That's my view.
Yeah, the codependency will destroy you if you let it, because it's all those tentacles of trying to be everything to everyone, you know?
Now to go, and also because I also want to keep like getting you up to like where you're at currently in life. So you got your PhD, became a college professor, and then from there you went, this is not for me, meaning this isn't going to be what I'm called to do. Yeah. So how long did it take you from being a college professor to start? Did you start your own ministry, or was it you started working in I don't know how that stuff works, or in another?
That's a great question, really. When I was out here in Los Angeles, because I went to school out here, right? In Claremont. When I was out here, I was a professor at the Laverne Black Institute for Black Church Renewal, right? And I was going to say this. My children were in school. My children were in school and middle school in Claremont. So I know what you're talking about, parents. I was one of those parents. So when I finished, I wanted so much to be a professor because I was on top of my class. I received the presidential award for academic excellence. So I wrote the first work on the Trinity. They said was one of the first to be written by an African for years since the early church. Okay. So I wrote that, and I was like, I'm going to be a professor. He's going to be a professor. I got a job without applying. Oh, wow. As an associate professor at the graduate school.
You never even sent in an application at all?
They just called me up and said, we need to talk to you. Oh, wow. So I thought, all my friends said, he's going to be the academician that goes there. So when I was accepted as a professor, first year of being there, I saw the politics. I saw what they were doing. My book is published. I have all this stuff. And I'm like, God, if there's any God, please take me out of here. The professors were eating each other. If you didn't publish, of course, we publish crap just so we can say we published. Yeah. My agreement with them was this, but the second year I was going to go move into tenure. That's not heard of. So my second year of teaching, because I was good at it, my tenure process has begun, and towards the end of the day, I just resigned. Wow. Okay,
but you with no other prospects, like not even another job lined up.
No, I can't say that. I can't say that. When I was planning to leave, the week before I left, a guy came from publishing one of the largest African American Christian publishing company called UMI. Came, we were in the elevator. You know, this life is serendipitous. We're in the elevator. His name is Jeff Wright. So people think you make stuff up. Yeah. We were in the elevator and he looked at me, didn't know what I was planning. I already put in my resignation letter. And they were saying, if you resign, you can never come back. I said, I really don't care. So in the elevator, he said to me, I really need somebody to head our editorial department. And I want you to be the one. I can ask him. His name is Jeff Wright. Wow. He says to me, I don't think you need to be here. So then he says to me, how much will it take for you to move to Chicago?
My town. Sorry.
That's where I was. Homeboy. So I said to him, I'm not a businessman. So I said, this amount of money I thought was so high. Yeah. And he goes, that's it. I go, and then I put a few more thousands on it. And he says, you got it. Wow. I'll pay your movement. I'll pay you moving stuff. I mean, as a professor, you haven't seen any money like that before. So I'm like, I'm jumping out a bit. Yeah. And his name is Jeffrey. I was gone at the end of the semester. Went to Chicago, 1997. and never looked back. That's when I worked for them as the senior vice president and editor-in-chief. Let me tell you how big this is. I was doing the Sunday school material that over 60% of the African-American churches were using in the country.
Wow. That's crazy. That's awesome.
That means every Sunday morning, millions of African-Americans were reading what I edited or wrote. That's how, I just decided I want to teach the world. I want to have classes under a tree. I want to have people come to my house, and people will come to my house, and we just talk. The old Jewish conversation.
Wow. So
amazing.
And probably I imagine too, that having that kind of reach, right? And knowing that you're having that greater of an impact, it had to been fulfilling on a level that you couldn't even imagine. And then after that, all you think about must be, how can I get more of this? How much more can I actually do
That's what my life
that
is.
I hadn't even thought about before?
Yeah.
It's, Chris, I'm telling you, that my life is a miracle, because most people dream of what I do. Just the past few months, I've been to 5 nations.
Amazing.
Teaching people. And I'm not a traditional preacher. I disagree with some of the stuff people call religion. But I also have my principles. I'm not going to compromise what I believe. But I think the way that we've gone about doing church and religion is the reason why so many people are turned off.
Well, I would definitely say this, that, I've seen it even with the Catholic Church, that they're doing a very much a revamping of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's one of my favorite quotes is, and I'm misquote them kind of, but there was I think it was the Dalai Lama that said something to this effect. And I think this Christianity needs to do the same thing. He said, as our knowledge of the world deepens, or through science or whatever it is, right? He goes, our beliefs must change. And he wasn't talking about the core of their beliefs, but saying, hey,
the way we view the world.
Yeah, like that has to change. We can't be this static thing and think that we are going to survive through that. And that's got to be a hard thing with Christianity, right? Do you think going into we're in the last 2,000 years, how much it's grown and changed through, right? Because the Catholic Church was the first, right? What was it? I'm trying to think. The first council was the Council of Nicaea. Yeah. I'm trying to remember my Catholic school last 2 years.
Nicaea, Cappadocia, and all that, the church. But you're right. But the thing that I'm doing, and that some of us are doing, is a return to mystical Christianity. Part of what Christianity lost was its African foundations when it moved into Europe. And it's a mystical foundation, since the world decided that everything Africans did was witchcraft. They lost the foundational structure that allowed them to change, because the African system was dynamic. You didn't have buildings. You had spiritual experiences. You figured it out. The same thing with the Celtic structure. The Celtic structure, but it became so codified in Europe, so that Europeans brought us their culture back rather than bring our spirituality back. It's a serious issue. They brought some things that were better, but they didn't bring the original structures. They destroyed look at the Bible. Look at the difference between the Catholic Bible and the Protestant Bible. There's a difference. Protestant Bible is a rationalistic, Renaissance, non-miraculous, non-mystical structure made for rationalism. It wasn't made for spiritual experience. That's why it's only 66 books. The Catholic Church, the Dewey version, has Enoch. All the books people say the Catholics hid, but it's not the Catholics that hid it. It's the Protestants that hid the books.
So when you're talking about the getting back to a mystical, so what? Especially you said like African, right? So for me, this isn't very new hearing about this. What year are we kind of talking? Because so the first Council of Nicaea was around what year again?
350.
350. So when you're talking about the mystical roots of Christianity, African, what year are we talking about the influence of Christianity coming through? And then
Nicaea wasn't a European council.
No, what I'm saying is like I'm trying to figure out the time period.
Okay.
Like when with like a mystical.
All the church fathers, 90% of the church fathers, Nicaea and all the way to the Second Council, were all Africans. If I told you Tertullian was African, Origen was African, Lactantius was African, Augustine was African. Of all the people that Europeans claim to be there, Monica, Augustine's mother, was African, black, not white.
Yeah.
So the Russian church was started by Ethiopians. People keep forgetting it was Africans who took the gospel for the purpose of training the world.
Why is that? Why is it that people, that's easily researchable, I'm sure, but like
it's everywhere.
Why is it that people, does it feel like when you try to tell people that there's this giant mental block to where they're like, no?
Because the Renaissance, as much as Westerners want to talk about it, the Renaissance became the beginning of a racist system in Europe. Because before the Renaissance, Africans were marrying Europeans. Africans and Europeans have always been in relationship.
So I guess because I'm learning, right? Yeah. So when you're talking about the African mystical side of Christianity, so you're talking way before the Council of Nicaea.
No, we're talking even during the Council of Nicaea and after the Council of Nicaea. So it took more than that for Christianity to turn. And this is the problem with many people in the West, because they're angry at the church. So they don't really study anything. They just take sound bites. Constantine was a baby Christian. Constantine called the council because he's converted to Christianity, and he didn't like the division among them. He didn't call the council because he wanted to rule the nation.
Yeah, so I guess for myself, because I have very limited knowledge, and so I just remember like stuff of like the Council of Nicaea, and that was when they got together and they were starting to debate like which books to actually would come into the New Testament.
That wasn't a canonical. That wasn't a canonical council.
Okay, so
the Council of Nicaea was a council about, can God become human? It was the idea of what is God's perspective of human? Why Jesus Christ? What's the purpose of Jesus Christ? If you believe that, this is what they discussed. They didn't discuss canon.
When did that come about?
That came about. They were pulling out the books, but before, let me show you this now. The Catholic Church from which you came from, right?
No, I didn't come from.
Whoever.
No. What I had said at my last 2 years of high school. Okay. I went to, I didn't grow up religious.
Okay.
And so my last 2 years of high school, I went to a Catholic high school. Okay. So I was trying to remember some of the stuff from
Okay, so let me show you something. Go take the old Catholic Bible. It's very simple. Look at all the books in it. The books people say on the internet that the Catholic Church hid. I'm not a Catholic. Why should I defend them? Absolutely. But the Catholic Church, they've done their stuff. They've wiped out people. But in this case, their book contains the book of Enoch, which everybody's talking about. It's always been there. The book of Tobit. Some of the books, but they put it in the middle as an apocrypha. But it's there. It's in their Bible. It's not in the Protestant Bible. So for me, the truth, we say in Judaism, we don't accuse people without evidence. And so you understand what I'm talking about. It's not because, part of what happened is the same thing we talk about teaching. People started teaching things and everybody started accepting it.
And changing it, yeah.
But you are, before now, Africans and Europeans. Do you know that Europeans, I'm going to say this now, it's going to blow people, but Europeans are not by nature racists.
Not.
Yeah. They're not racist. by nature. Who says that? Because they were the kings of Europe were marrying African women. It was all they were doing stuff together until Europeans went to India.
See, I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
So
that's
who's the one that has a caste system that doesn't change? Not European culture, not African culture. Go check your history. They went to India, came back, and created a caste system. And they created according to the color structures of India.
Mm.
Europeans, that's why you can change a European. You can argue with him about racism and he start crying.
Okay, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
But you can't change a Brahmin Indian who believes that his color makes him a god.
Yeah, and I don't want to detract anything from this.
Yeah.
So the thing that fascinates me is, and this is why I was trying to understand, is the African mystical Christianity. I'm saying those three words, whatever order.
Going back to that.
Because
I think you're asking, what does that look like?
Yeah, right? That's what I was trying to understand. It's
what is
so how's the religion?
Yeah, because that's interesting.
Let me ask you a simple question. Do you have any spiritual experience? Tell me anything.
Yes, I would say I've had spiritual experience.
Give me an example.
I don't want to say it publicly.
Okay. Let me tell you. So Africans thought that you can actually leave your body.
Astral projection.
Now, you can call it that. That's a term.
Okay.
But you, and I can show you this during slavery, what they did to Africans to make sure that their spiritual powers were suppressed.
Yeah.
So the chanting, everything, until the energetic system of your body aligned with what? With either the universe or with the world or with anything.
Yeah.
So Africans could do all of that stuff, and the early church was doing all of that stuff.
Mm.
We watch Indian religion now and go, wow, that awesome. But Christians were doing the same thing. Christians were meditating. Meditation is not new to Christianity. Christians were meditating and levitating. The record is there.
Wow. So here's an interesting question then. So you have Jesus is, he gets crucified, all of that stuff. Who brings, is it one of like the 12, one of his 12 disciples? Who's going down to Africa then? That's what I'm trying to understand. It's very clear in the Bible. The first church planted in the world was planted in Ethiopia. Mm-hmm. It's right in the Bible.
Yeah.
The Ethiopians and the Egyptians, who were not white at that time, were the ones who took the gospel. If you read when Paul takes the gospel and they arrest him, they look at him and say, are you not the Egyptian that created problems? And because at that time, Egyptians looked like him. So we can have all these conversations. So look at it now. So you have all these people, but they were mixed. Egyptians were mixed. There were people from Europe, Spain. I mean, until recently, most people in southern Spain were darker than him.
I heard that.
South Greek, the same way. But these guys were intermixing. They were not separated from one another. So the first people to take the gospel, and by the way, as Jewish people, if we are in Europe, we didn't go there because we wanted to go to Europe. Everywhere we are that is not it's not Africa, we were sold as slaves there. So every Jewish person in Europe, unless their family is a convert, was sold as a slave into Europe thousands of years. Because our father Abraham told his servant, don't ever take them back that way. Where did they go every time they were persecuted and have freedom? South to Africa. People keep forgetting, but they don't want to read the Bible because, guess, Africa? No, nobody went there. People went there.
Why is that hidden so much? Why do people hide that so much?
Because it was a structure of power.
Yeah.
It's a structure of power. So if you tell him, hey, you know what? You got brothers in Africa. You can't tell him, you can't control him. Yeah. If you tell the Egyptian that he's not European, he's going to look at you and go, I tried to do that. I told one of the I was in Egypt in January, and I just did it just to piss off someone. I just said, "You're an Arab," and he goes, "We're Egyptians. We're Egyptians." And I'm like, "Excuse me," and he's like, "Bro, don't ever say that to me again." Like, excuse me.
Yeah.
My point is,
Mm-hmm.
we have to remember that religion can be a tool in the hand of people who want to rule the world, who want to control
100%.
So
control,
and they've done it well.
They know they've taken like good principles. It's kind of like we've talked about. Every time that the United States wants to go to war,
It makes it
they bring out military Jesus.
Yeah.
Right?
absolutely.
And he's holding like it's almost like he's
Jesus with an AK.
Yeah, Jesus with an AK.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So how do you talk to people who say that the coercion of people using that doesn't discredit Christianity?
That's why you need your own experience.
Totally.
You know, if I didn't have that, I won't be a Christian today, because the things that I've seen and I've studied. So I've read stuff. I've read materials from people that I'm going, I wanted to go F Jesus.
Uh-huh.
You know, but I know what my experience. I know what I've been through. We don't, you know, we're here talking about teaching.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for having been taught as a child by teachers who made me understand this thing is about a relationship with something bigger than yourself. And they're very clear. Hey, whatever you know yourself. Because it is in knowing yourself that you begin to know God. So if you don't know yourself, what are you talking about God about? Coming to know God is sometimes a result of self-knowledge. So people say, okay, God spoke to me. Actually, what is speaking to you is yourself from another dimension, or from a possibility of who you are, because God made it that way. So if you don't know yourself, how are you going to talk about God?
It's true.
And when you know yourself, it is not easy for people to misdirect you, because when you hear the voice of your being, you hear the voice of God, and the measure of your being is amazing. So people taught me that. So that's why I wanted to teach people.
Yeah. So let me ask you something too, because like I find that the African mystical part very important. Here's why. I was talking to Matt on a car ride home once, and I said, you know, even though I'm not religious, one of my favorite things about Christianity, and I wonder if early Christians focused more on this, is that Jesus was taking people, right? Or the Christians taking people and allowing them to be baptized and born again to clean them of their sins, so that they could feel like they could have the relationship and be restored with God. Yeah. And like in early Christianity, I don't know, maybe you can expand upon this. Was the focus a little bit more on that? And was the focus when you're talking about down in Ethiopia and everything,
in Sudan,
Somalia,
was
this also a big thing about being kind of born again, being clean, right? So you could restore to feel like God's love and light upon you.
That's about it this way. Christianity was an initiatory religion.
Okay.
An initiation is about the transformation of consciousness. It's about that's what most true religions are, initiatory. You got to be initiated into the mysteries of that. The problem is, but that's how it came. That's why baptism is an initiation. Baptism is a process, and the way they baptize is not the way we baptize. When I pour water on people and say, baptize them. In African culture, to baptize you was to put you in water until you were almost drowning and your consciousness shifted. Here you came back out, something has happened to you. We do that. We do that. We do that with all kinds. But you're right. When you got baptized, you were initiated. The Bible says what? I hate to put the Bible in the teacher stuff, but it says when you were baptized, you were buried. Mm-hmm. You literally died. When you woke up, you resurrected. You get the point? Mm-hmm. So that's initiation is powerful stuff. But I'm sorry that we're talking so much about religion.
No. I'm really fascinated about that. The reason why is because when I look at like the early Christians, mm-hmm. right, is when there are so many people, and even in today's world, mm-hmm. that feel like they don't belong. That are told either implicitly or explicitly they are not a real member of society because of X this or Y that or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was so incredibly powerful to be, baptized and then feel like you're part of that greater whole, mm-hmm. something even bigger than some civilization that is going on.
Yes, you're right.
At that moment, some kingdom that will eventually fall. You're part of something bigger.
That's right. Yeah. You're right. And that kingdom is the kingdom of divine consciousness, isn't it? You become part of God's mind. You become accepted into the depth of God. You're not alone in the world. In fact, you become it's a wrong way to say it, but I'll say it just in case somebody's listening. You become a piece of God. More than that, you're engaged. So these are some of the stuff I teach that if I say it, people might start writing me hate later. But I get what you mean. People forget that Christianity was about the divinization of man, which is why it was persecuted. It's about, and that's the African construct, that God, if it wasn't for African worldview, you couldn't talk about God becoming a human being. Because most cultures don't say that.
I like that.
Because with a certain belief systems, and I did a whole work on this, I published articles on them. Certain belief systems in Africa, because Europeans did not go to Asia to find Christianity. It came from the south up.
Yep.
So people want to make it a Hindu system, but it actually came from ancient Egypt, from Ethiopia, from all Sudan. Sudan is really the cradle of almost all the religions that the West scream about. They say Egypt, but it was actually Sudan. Because yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't want to.
No, it's okay.
It's a question. So, why all the hate on Christianity? So, would it be? Do you think that it's like something like churches have brought on themselves? And what I mean by that is like some pastor who took all the collection plate and bought like a Lamborghini who worked for like the church channel. Is that why people hate it, or is it because? Do you think it predates that?
Okay, no, but the hatred of Christianity had to do with power structures. Okay. What would you do when a poor little girl from South Libya is seeing visions and people are rallied with her, and she's raising people, and the kingdom is trying to do certain things, and this one person, the Romans killed young women. Ask yourself, it's a young woman who's only 17 years old, pregnant with a baby. Why kill her? People talk a lot about what Christians did. They don't talk about what the Romans were doing to Christians. Mm-hmm. What the blood of Christians. So what do you think? The people in power understand that a raised spiritual consciousness, a consciousness of humanity's interconnection with divinity was a threat. So that's why, the same thing in America, that's why the American government usurps Christianity and twist it so that it begins to support the powers. So the persecution, look, we're a religion whose founder died on the cross. Mm-hmm. What did he do? We're a religion whose major founders, all the apostles were killed, beheaded, for saying what? For saying that God became human and that humanity can participate in divinity. Come on, guys. Man, that religion, that is the issue. That's the issue. Did God create?
I totally understand.
Did God create us to be separate from Him?
Absolutely.
Oh, I would say Him. I don't mean Him, but I just mean.
I know what you mean.
Did God create us to be separate from God? So Christianity's main theology and thrust is God became human so that we might become God. All the fathers, all the early African fathers, Athanasius, Anthony, the Nicene Church, which the Nicene Council, which everybody talks about, said we must maintain the divinity of Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, because that's how we know that we will become God. To me, I'm Jewish. Nobody told me that. I was told that I'm a child of the Most High.
Was the leap from Judaism to Christianity an easy one? Because you saw it, or was there like a little bit of wrestling that was there to where you're like,
I had a revelation. It's easy when you have visions and you see stuff. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
And for kids, you can call it whatever you want, but it sustained me. But I never left, that I never left Judaism. I disagree with some of the stuff we do, but I believe that what Judaism is about a Messiah coming. So who's the Messiah? The Messiah is going to be a human being. And I asked my rabbi once, because I was still maintain going to, I asked my rabbi once, when the Messiah comes, what will he do? In typical Jewish way, what did he say? When the Messiah comes, what will he not do? I said, so the whole thing is, what is the fate of humanity? We live in a world, I will say this now, where even human beings don't like human beings.
Yeah.
Even Christians hate human beings.
Absolutely.
So let's be careful.
They judge you.
Most religions seem to be anti-human. The reason I'm a believer is because God became human. God, how do you value something? This is us, we are this. And the faith I'm part of says, the creator of the universe did not just become one of us, because according to the scripture, Jesus became all of us. That's what most people don't talk about. Yeah. And according to Christian theology, he became human. He didn't become a man. He became human, anthropos. That means all of us were included. So when he came
because human beings being one.
That's right.
Yeah.
In that one human being, we all met. So so which other religion teaches that? Really none.
Yeah.
People say, why are you a Christian? That's why. And that's an African belief system. There's a culture in which we come from where we do not throw children away. We don't discard people. People say, Africans were fighting wars with each other. I said, but Africa is the only place you will find a tribe of 100, 200,000 people that the major tribes refuse to wipe out. Because the structure, even in go anywhere, you will find that. Because there's an embedded worldview that you should never wipe a people out. Asians do that. They wipe a people out because that's their culture. Europeans have learned it, but they never did it before. The people in the Middle East do it. I'm sorry, because that's what Israel was told to do. That's one of the things I carry as I'm going. We were actually told to wipe out all these people. God actually told us that. But thank God we didn't obey. I'm having too much fun. I'm having too much fun.
I was just about to say, you're a powerful speaker. You gotta be just in it, because you speaking nothing but
sorry.
You speaking nothing but truth. You know what I'm saying? My question is, do you prepare what you go to speak when you go to the congregation, or you go to speak, or do you be like, I don't know, I'm just gonna just walk up there, I'm gonna know what I'm gonna say? Then the second question, have you went out there and said, all right, this is what I prepared to say? You're like, you went out there and said, I didn't want to say that. I wish I would have said this. These little moments, anything like that?
It used to happen to me earlier, but I've been doing this for 56 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
So at a certain point, I don't do that anymore. I do write things out, but I do also, you should come to my house and you should come to my office and see my library. Apart from the encyclopedias, every book in that library I've read. Wow. So the thing is, I am old enough where I could get up and talk, but I don't do it because sometimes you get derailed by your own bias.
Okay.
And everybody who talks in public must watch their own bias. My professor in Medicine Hat in Alberta used to say it's a blip. There's a blip here. When you start talking a lot about certain things, your emotion gets into it, and you start misconceiving or misperceiving. So you write. I write my messages down. He knows I stop in the middle and I start pontificating, but I'm always very careful that what I've spent the week praying for. I'm a spiritual man, so I would say, what should I be talking to the people about? So, and I spend time writing. I've written many books. So when I finish writing, but I'm not bound to it. I'm not bound to it. There are times when you say certain things and you go, that was not the right way to say it. Yeah. But I give human beings credit though. See, I'm a believer in humanity. Okay. Because human beings will hear your heart.
Absolutely.
I've been amazed. Even when I was a stupid preacher, I was just pontificating, pumping fingers, pumping.
Were you ever the preacher that was like, and then God said, and then like tapping your face?
No, that's not.
Come on, every black preacher does that once in a while. But you want to be, every black preacher does that. You've seen me do it sometime in church.
Actually, I have. More when Jonathan's there. We need to have him on the keyboard though. Be like,
no, but it's fun. It's fun to do that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we're human beings.
Absolutely.
Remember, my biggest issue in life is, what does God think of human beings? And if I leave this earth tomorrow, I want people to remember that I believe in humanity, even when we're being completely jackasses. You know, we are neighing at each other, kicking at each other. I believe that humanity is valued by God. That's my my fundamental belief is, we talked about this in the church. This thing, it's an incredible mic, but what is it worth? Let's say you bought it for $500, $2,000. You put it on the ground, you bought it for $2,000. Some wealthy person that we may not even name, maybe Bill Gates, maybe late Steve Jobs, walks into this room and says, Mark, I want to buy this stuff. And you say, oh, you don't need it. And he goes, but I want to buy this. Can I pay you $20,000 for it? What's the value of it? You get the point. So I put a pile of sand on the ground. We all have our mud piles. And the Berkshire man comes over. Or maybe the crazy Elon comes over and says, I want to buy your mud pile for $3 billion. How much is the mud pie worth?
In human terms, $3 billion.
Yeah.
In human terms.
No. Yeah. The thing is what someone is willing to pay for it. Anything is worth what someone is willing to pay for it. In Christianity, you're worth the life of God. Because that's what Christianity is. What was God willing to pay? Himself, his son, become you. So how much value? What is your value? Doesn't matter what you're doing. What is your value? Your value is what God is willing to pay for you. And God says, I'm willing. This is why I became a Christian, right? Even as a kid. Because one of the old persons says, if God is willing to say, I'm paying for you with my life, so that you can become like me? What other value do you need?
Yeah, because there's nothing greater than that.
Yeah.
So
it's the ultimate sacrifice.
Anybody else that wanted to buy a mud pie, right? Will have to do what? We'll have to top that or pay at least that. How important is humanity that let's just say these guys made this up. It doesn't even exist. But there's genius for somebody to come up with the idea that the creator of the universe, if he was an ordinary being, would lose everything, became a human being, so that we all can become like God. The price is amazing.
It's incalculable.
So how important is him? How important is him? How important are you? Your value is divinity. Every human being. Now they can choose to enter into it or choose to reject it.
In some ways, it's almost if someone is willing to lay down their life for you, that means that they value your life even more than their own.
Yeah.
So, we when I teach, I tell people, I said, and it begins, by the way, it begins in Judaism. Because according to Judaism, Africans say that human beings come into the world as their soul is God releasing his eternal structure into them. Now, we're not preaching. This is not a preaching podcast. But think, you walking down, you started wobbling as a baby, falling all over the place. As an adult, you don't wobble physically, but you wobble in your mind, you wobble in the way you relate to your friends and your brothers and sisters. And yet the whole universe was made for you. If only you will actually align yourself to who you are as a divine being. So some Christians don't like me because I talk like that.
So it's interesting that you say that, because I remember when I was in Catholic school, and I couldn't articulate anything that you were saying right now, but and it was my first real exposure to Christianity, because like I said, I didn't really grow up with it. And they would say that Jesus is God's only son. And I remember in theology class going, but aren't we kind of all God's sons and daughters? And I remember a priest saying no. And so when I hear you speak, for me, it kind of, I'm making the connection to, I totally see how you're saying it more so than what I was being taught at that time.
Because there's something missing in most later Christian theology. And that is that African construct. That foundational, the Greek we call it the ontological structure. In African structure, ontologically, Jesus became all of us. He is God's only begotten son. But only begotten so that we have a chance to do what? To be the same as he is. Yeah, the Bible, and people don't read scripture, they just read what they want to read. It says, so that as he is in heaven, so we can also be on earth. Let's say we were not like that before. But Christianity says when you accept Jesus, right? You literally become a son of God. There's no place the Bible says you become something less than Jesus. But it's also make up that stuff. But the church fathers didn't say that. They said, God became man that we might become God.
Now, with how you, with your beliefs and the way that, with everything that you have to share, what do you find are some of the biggest hurdles and obstacles? For me, I have such an open mind. I love listening to people. But when you're talking to whether it's someone that's Catholic or someone that's a different denomination of Christian, right? Or someone that isn't, when you're talking about these things, what do you find tends to be the biggest obstacles, or people want to stop? want to put their hand up, meaning
take me off this ride
because this doesn't align with my beliefs or what I've been taught. So I'm just gonna either one off or I'm gonna attack you.
Well, what I found, because I talk to people from where they are. The issue is not them, the issue is me.
Say that again one more time. I'm sorry.
It's not them, it's me, because it is not their job.
That is such a bar for teachers, even for myself, even for me as a comic, because if the audience doesn't laugh, it's never the audience's fault.
No,
it's the fact that I didn't meet them where they were as a comedian, as a teacher.
There's seldom people that have. I mean, you know, in Nigeria we're having all these religious fight.
100%.
But it's funny when I begin to talk. So how am I going to talk to a Muslim and I've never read the Quran? What's your issue? Why are you going to try to convince somebody when you don't even know what they believe? Why am I going to talk to a Hindu without reading the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishad, or even the sutras? I don't believe you should be talking to people when you don't have a place you can say, this is where we agree and this is where we can start our conversation.
Have you ever met anyone that's Hindu or Buddhist? It's like, look, I'm all on board with everything that you're saying, but can I still keep reincarnation? Like, yes,
I have met them, but I always have I have questions for people. See, we are teachers, right? One of the greatest ways to teach is through the Socratic method. To ask, to be a midwife. Instead of being a lecturer, be a midwife.
Listen, yeah.
Why? So they say, I still believe in reincarnation. I say, okay. Are you sure you want to do that? Why are you asking me that? Because reincarnation is a toss-up. If you come back as a rat, can I kill you? We joke about it and they just like, no, it's not that easy. I say, I know it's not. But just explain to me why you want to come back to a world. Because reincarnation demands you pay for what you've done. The theory is 100% I'm a Christian because I did go through all that phases in my life. I'm 67 now. Where I'm like, maybe I should just leave this stuff and go there. But reincarnation, do you know why I love Jesus?
Man, that's holding on. If you actually think about it, if you're that's taking guilt to a whole new level.
It's taking what?
Like it's guilt, right? Like if
I could be eating my uncle if I'm eating this burger.
If you committed a sin, and you actually had to go, oh my God, I got to come back in another life now.
Turn into McDonald's.
Exactly. It's something else.
Yeah. But it is part of the structure of every reincarnation, including the African one, that is very fundamental. You can't talk, and this is part of the West issue is the West just comes like, oh, reincarnation. But you don't understand. Reincarnation is hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also interesting too, because I wonder if, I've thought about this, is reincarnation, like if you think about the whole thing of like...
I don't think he heard. He just said...
I'm sorry.
Reincarnation, he's like, but here's the thing. It'd be so awesome.
Exactly. He's like, well, anyway.
No, because I'm going with another thought.
Yeah. Okay.
Which, I don't have to share.
I love this.
No, go for it.
Like I said, I'm not religious.
Well,
right?
I can tell.
Yeah, so...
Because most religious people will be careful what kind of question they be asking.
Yeah.
No, so what I wonder about reincarnation is everything, when it comes to religion in general, is everyone, let's say that nobody is 100% correct.
Okay.
But that everyone is actually sort of correct, but they're interpreting everything that is, whether it's the physical world, the spiritual world, whatever, in just a different way of it, right? Like, so if you say reincarnation, right? So if Einstein's is energy doesn't die, it just changes form.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I agree.
And so I've often thought about that. I go, that's probably the closest thing that I have to my own religion.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I think about that like on a spiritual level, right? So is reincarnation, and this is just my interpretation
please do.
Is it really that people, because you can't not be, meaning that everything around us becomes something else. So if someone does something in this life, well, it's like a butterfly effect type thing. It naturally will affect other lives. Even like how I treat Matt may affect how Matt treats somebody else. So that's a form of reincarnation if you think about it, right?
Okay, all right.
And so when you come across like people with one life, you know, and do you find that it's hard to get people to, God, I'm trying to articulate my thoughts. Sorry, I'm like coming up with my questions right now.
I'm listening.
Yeah. You know what? Come back to it.
Okay.
Let me. Yeah.
But this is just one something I want to, and this is what I think that I would love to say about this.
Yeah.
Yes, there's truth in every religion. But where is the religion that says that God became you so that he can save you?
Does that also beg the question, do we need that?
Yes, you do.
So, because, right, if we're going to say that one thing, so then we have to ask that question, does the religion need that? And then if that's the case, that yes, it does, what would your answer be to that?
But my question still is, Jesus is the one. Because I'm trying to figure out where exactly.
Yeah.
If what is my idea? Let's use a philosophical structure. Let's say that whatever you think is the summum bonum, which they Latin call the ultimate good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Call it God. Let's say it's energy that gives life. Okay, energy in its life-giving. Sorry, I keep pushing this stuff away. Energy that gives life, that is structured towards life. Okay, not structured towards. Now we know death is not real in a sense, but death is real to human beings.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and if it is real to us here, who says it is not real? We have not really gone to the point where we understand the distinctions of energy. I'm not a scientist, but people keep saying all energy is one. But what if there's an energy that eats up the energy that gives life?
What if there's an energy that eats up the energy that gives life?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then where, if by the process of eating it, then where would that energy go?
Into nothingness, into complete. Let's say it eats it, and it's a torturous process. Because it's a torturous process. Okay. Because it happens in life. And if everything we're experiencing here at a certain level is a measure of what is in the cosmic structure. So why are we dismissing the fact that there is something here? By the way, the caveat that makes the whole energy structure problematic, which is a caveat, is that human beings make decisions on how that energy is manifested in their life. So that caveat of human choice and decision and its impact on the cosmic level is what we've not yet decided. We don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
We know we don't know it, but it's there. Because somebody walks, I'll give you an example. I grew up in a war. When I was a kid, that 1968 was the Biafran War. The war that killed millions of my people, that killed children. I was one of the kids with the stomach from kwashiorkor, from malnutrition. But a human being caused that. They made a choice that impacted children. I watched children die. So, thing in this world is that's how religious people think sometimes. If this is happening in this world, why are you going to tell me that this person does this and gets away with it, and it has no cosmic impact? People in the West want to do that because they know what they've done to everybody else. But most people in the world don't believe in that structure. And Christianity is the only thing I know where it says God became human. When you get into God, God himself removes all that stuff you've done that might actually follow you cosmically. Doesn't go away by itself. We wish it would go away by magic, but it doesn't, because we are real in this world.
Yeah.
And I hope so. I hope this isn't just a simulation.
The power.
Smack Chris in
But
the face.
think about the power that the cosmos, let's say it's cosmos, God, cosmos, the Holy One, the righteous one, whatever. The power that the cosmos has given. And you made a Jewish statement without knowing you made a Jewish statement. You said, you said the way I treat Matt affects the universe, the cosmos. It's a butterfly effect. It moves, and so why is that important? Why will that be in our life if it didn't matter? We are real. There's something about us. We have not figured it out. We may have telescopes, but we haven't figured out who we are.
Well, just as human beings in our present form, we're still infants.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's, and I know that we can't go forever on this. We gotta wrap up. Let me ask you,
the mic is going,
because this is super important. So where do you see Christianity going in the next 100 years?
Great question.
If Christianity does not change its structure of morality,
okay.
If it doesn't change, because morality that we talk about is made up by the West. There's biblical morality, but biblical morality doesn't fit a lot of the stuff the West is talking about. That's number one. Christianity is going to die, may need to be resurrected. It needs to change its view of dogma. Not change who Jesus is, not change, but the dogmatic processes that curtails human capacity to experience the spiritual world. See this stuff, we go to church for 15 minutes, we came as a community, and we want to be there for 15 minutes. That's what's killing the Western church, because there's not if you and I went into the church and we did mantra, just simple mantra, how long will it take for us to shift our consciousness? At least an hour. Until we are masters in it. So what makes the Western church think that they can come to church for 15 minutes? That's why people walk out of church and nothing has happened to them.
Fast food.
Native Americans.
Fast food church.
Native Americans, we gather in the smoke chamber and be there all day to shift consciousness. For some reason, Western Christianity believes that without deep spiritual work,
it's because we got to get back to our job.
Thank you. That's
because the real guy in the West.
I'm also say this.
Yeah.
Because Western Christians are not having children. Christianity is going to die. People don't like that. Because majority of people who are in any faith were born into it.
Very true.
Yep.
Very few people, and the only reason I'm a Christian is because I'm a Jew who believes that since Jesus is the Jew, Messiah cannot be anybody than a Jew. That's my bias. That's my tribal bias, but it's there. So the mystical stuff is missing. That's the help. Because you got people who are smoking peyote, doing stuff
to get there.
To get there.
Yeah.
But I know how to get there myself without doing all of that stuff. I don't do drugs. But I can go into my bed tonight, and it's not astral projection, because according to Christian theology, Christians don't astral project. Okay, we can talk about that later on, because something we don't teach in public, but I can leave my body. When my father was alive, he was sitting in his house in Nigeria. He'd call my brother and go, "Your brother came to see me." It's an African thing. That's one of the things that we just know, we just do. But many Africans have become westernized. They don't do that anymore. But I'm like, if I'm gonna do this stuff, I better do it right. If I'm gonna do a mantra or prayer, it better affect my consciousness. But not just me saying, I want you to say hello to me. No. Let it be that I'm actually you're going to hear me speak to you if we have a relationship.
It can't just live on paper. It has to be a living, breathing way of life.
You said it better.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Man, you taught us so much. I feel
Absolutely.
like we were expecting to talk about like lunch breaks.
I knew we were gonna kids.
We need some.
Yeah, I need to.
But this is serious stuff for us.
Yeah.
How do you grow a religion when a majority of, and by the way, this is the fight some Christians who understand have with some people, is what's this stuff? If you don't have children, then you're really not giving God somebody that will become like him. It's not about you. It's not about your money. It's about, I know you Westerns like, it's my body. It's not about your body. It's about you produce a vessel, just like you are becoming God. You produce another vessel. You're a selfish person if you're not producing a vessel that can become God. That's my view of this stuff. All this argument that bro was having, I'm like, nah. So you're going to leave the world empty without another vessel?
Yeah, Zoe, we got to get on it, bro.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Start tonight.
He was looking at me. I'm going to be looking at you, bro.
But that moral stuff, Chris, that moral stuff is, so because we have moral stuff, a girl has a child out of wedlock. You say that child is out of wedlock. You don't say that's a child. Before they used to say, and Christians are the ones that, that's a bastard.
Yep.
How's a child a bastard? You created a system in which your children don't want to have children, but they're having sex all the time because you do not value children. You value your personal morality above the survival of humanity. Sorry, this is I'm gonna get hate mail on that one too.
No, you're good, man.
No, I love that. What would you say, like bringing it back to the end, what advice would you give to teachers that are burned out? And by teachers, I mean teachers that are all over the spectrum. Is there anything teachers can universally do to avoid burnout on some level? Because it's a very demanding thing. I know you know above all people.
I'm going to tell you this. I think every teacher should be taught how to meditate. Because if you don't know how to pull yourself back and how to look, we all going to go through this stuff. There was a time I was burnt out. What pulled me out of it was meditation. You don't have to be a Christian to meditate. You don't have to be a Buddhist to meditate. You don't have to be a Hindu to meditate. You don't have to be a Muslim to meditate. You just have to be a human being. Learn how to meditate. Pull your inner structures and live. You can do that without being a religious person and operate at a higher level. The children doing all that stuff. Yeah, it's not easy, but it takes training to get there. We're not training our teachers. So we're taking people because they have a certain course knowledge. They're not teachers. They're not philosophers. They are communicators of information. Remember, what do you call what you teach? What is the name for what you teach? The general name for what you teach. It's called subject. A subject is a person. It's not a course. So if a teacher, and this I helped start Antioch University Teachers Training Program. I developed the pedagogical structures. When I was there, I started especially teaching for gifted, for the gifted. Teachers were training because I was like, you guys don't know how to deal with kids who are trained, who are smart. You get frustrated. But teachers, we need to give teachers space. You can't just have them doing stuff all the time, which is what we do. You leave the church, you leave the school, and you go home, and you spend all that time preparing, and you come back. You really don't have time. Because everybody who wants to teach children has this incredible thing in their soul that makes them want to do that. But the soul cannot be transferred without inner awareness. And it is easy to derail people who have good intention. Ministry, same thing. Mm-hmm. And it's not just about prayer. We're talking about self-awareness. Let's just say that and once we got to learn how to do that. But because people are so scared of religion, they don't give teachers that as a training. They don't say, teachers, here's your, not break, 15-minute break. No, we're giving you this time for you to wind down. Find your, everybody's got it. Find your Zen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Your Zen point. Find your peace point. Because you're changing the world. Whether even the worst teachers in the world are changing the world. Because they're saying once in a while, these teachers will say stuff that sticks at the children's. Because some people get it. I'm not saying that. Some people get teaching just because they don't have money. But when you get in, you realize that the universe pushed you into the context because you have something to offer. Every teacher in the world has something to offer. Facts. But we need, and in our culture, in the US, we don't value teachers. It's not the children. The culture is a culture that devalues teacher. Even though a teacher is the greatest person you will ever have in your life. Not your professor in university. I still remember my elementary school teacher.
Good memory.
The woman who taught me math and who forced me to think. She won't let me get away. I was only in grade 3. She's like, no. They call me by African name. Okay, Chuku, no. You can't do that. But he can. No, you can't. Here's a book you need to read. And I was I'm mad at her. But kids have a crush. So she was one of my crushes in elementary school. So I was like, she's so beautiful. So everything, I'll fight, but I'll still do it. But she took an interest in me. And boy, that reading, it's an elementary school teacher. I wouldn't be here without it. College, J.L. Matheson. I was taking a course in a community college. And community college people, a lot of the students didn't want to do anything. This man took interest in me. My first philosophy paper. By the way, I never went to high school. Never been to high school. Never stepped my foot in high school except to go visit. I stopped school in grade 6 before moving to university. Wow.
It's crazy though. Hearing this, we actually do have to wrap up, but the fact that what set their trajectory was your early educators, educators. And where can people find you so people can actually, because you have a lot to teach.
I live in Lake Elsinore. I have a center in Lake Elsinore. What I do is Activate. It's just something that I made up. AACTEV 8. Activate. And Activate is we're talking about teaching people how to think differently, how to approach life differently. It is Christian, but man, thinking is the problem. People react, they don't think. People get offended, they don't think. Especially in a liberal culture like this. Let's be honest. One of our stuff is we get too offended. We don't have a conversation. So I'm in Lake Elsinore, but I teach at the Venice United Methodist Church when I'm in town. So most Sundays, my wife is the pastor, but most Sundays you will see me there teaching, talking to people.
And I think too that if anyone is ever trying to find you on Instagram, I believe that Matt, because Matt had gone on, I think he's following that now that I know what it is. that's one of the things that we're following. So if someone is struggling to find that, they can go into who we're following and find you on there.
Yeah, I think we're following Activate and Venice United Methodist Church, and we only follow like 30, 40 people on the Teachers Lounge.
Dr. O, you just put in the internet, Dr. O, you see my stuff come on. I say a lot of controversial stuff, but talk to me. Don't get offended. Yeah. Write me, talk to me, because I believe conversation is the key. Yeah. I wouldn't know you if you didn't talk to me. Mm-hmm. Now, spiritually, I can say, I know, I can see some things, but God created us to be talking animals. We have to talk to each other. Absolutely. You have to.
Yeah. And speaking of your church, Dr. O was blessed to let us shoot all our sketches at your church too. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. Much love. Thank you.
Real. Yeah. So everything that people start saying with our sketch comedy.
Thank you so much.
Because he knows I want to see. I call you guys young people because I'm 67. Okay, so almost 70
20 years younger than you.
Yeah,
I'm 47.
You're 20s?
No, I'm 47.
But you're still 20 years younger than me.
I feel like I have more in common with you than I do these guys.
Exactly.
I'm like, we have the same hat.
Yeah. Yo, that's his hat all the time. He wears that hat all the time.
Hey, but I mean it. Thank you so much.
This was awesome.
Thank you so much.
You guys, I didn't mean to talk so much.
No. We wanted that. Trust me.
I needed that.
I've been trying to. That's why I should. You can ask them. I don't stop talking. Yeah. This is probably the quietest you guys have ever seen me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Matt told me to come up with come up with questions before, but that's why I was trying to. I didn't think of any, and I was like, because I just wanted to be have a conversation.
I had a lot of questions, but I was like, I'm just gonna sit and watch because you was answering a lot of my questions in my mind. So so thank you so much.
I feel so honored.
Thank you.
Honor's all here.
Before we leave, guys, teachers for me are the greatest gift we have in the nation. Anybody who volunteers to teach our children, volunteer, paid for, doesn't matter. One of the things we have most changed in the U.S. is how we value teachers. Mm-hmm. We are the community is the reason for the burnout, not the children. The parents are the reason for the burnout because they don't teach their children, because they don't respect teachers. Mm-hmm. The children are just exhibiting what the society has done.
That's it.
To teachers.
Absolutely.
We don't value teachers. We pay teachers less than we pay everybody else.
Preach.
Which should be, and that's what Confucius argued, it should be the other way around. The teachers who teach children and teach them in the younger years should be the most paid. But what do? We find a girl that's struggling. We don't pay her good money. We let her teach our children. And we're surprised. And when people who are actually professionals try to teach our children, we think that they're not worth anything. We must change the way we train and the way we talk about teachers.
Amen.
That's a bar.
With that, thank
you so much.
With that mic drop. Dr. O, the pleasure is all ours on this end.